Uzbekistan, they are totally surrounded by us. They know we're there and they know we're strong.
And we can resurrect the Shah.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about our being soft.
Well, this is less of a question than a statement. You invoked Ronald Reagan saying, talking about the Soviet Union and our negotiations with them. We had something to be fearful of with the Soviet Union.
Right.
Iran is not a nuclear state. What can Iran do to us? Realistically. And then also you have to ask yourself, from the position of Iran, look at all that they have to be fearful from us, from our history, not just in the Middle East, in South America where we've installed dictatorships, all around the world where these things have happened. Now, going from that, I want to, I guess, make a little bit of a stump for Barack Obama on this issue. I was reading something in Time today where he met with General Petraeus a few months back, and Petraeus went on to say that in speaking with Barack Obama, it was one of the most adult debates that he had. And I think that if he is elected, will carry into our negotiations where we're not looking down on these countries that we're talking to, where we are not this hegemon who is holier than thou. We need that, and the rest of the world wants that from us. They don't want to be talked down on. They don't want to be made to feel like we are this father figure who is telling them what to do.
And if the President of the United States put me on the list of the axis of evil, the first thing I'd want to get myself is a nuclear weapon.
Yeah.
Okay, I would like to just thank all of the speakers for taking the time. I'm sorry, is your comments?
No, comment and a question, just an announcement if you don't like it.
Okay, let me just close it up and then you guys can give your two announcements, because I know Dr. Cox has an announcement as well.
Okay.
I would like to thank you.
Stand up.
Okay. I would like to thank each one of you for coming and taking the time to come speak to us, and I would like to thank everybody else for the questions. And sorry I had to interrupt you a couple times, but I would like to give everybody else a chance to speak.
Let's hear it for our moderator. Wasn't she?
Okay, and thank you. And Dr. Cox, and maybe you have a, sorry.
Yeah. No, I don't have any. I just have a real short one. All right. Thanks again to Isla and Angela. Extra credit for you. If you take a class from me, it'll be in the future. And as I think Isla pointed out when she introduced me, I'm the director of our university's Center for Judaic, Holocaust, and Human Rights Studies. We're having a big week of events next week from the 3rd to the 7th. And some of y'all may know that the Holocaust Museum in Naples recently acquired a boxcar that was used during the time of the Holocaust. So we're going to be displaying that boxcar here at the Student Union from Monday through Friday next week, and then doing a number of other events to accompany that, educational events. We're having a couple big speakers, some film showings, other things of that nature. So anyway, I have a number of leaflets here. Please, everyone grab as many leaflets as you think you might be able to drop off somewhere and attend whatever you can. And you can also check out our website, which is easy to find. Just go to the FGCU homepage, fgcu.edu, and then it's /HC for Holocaust Center. All right, thanks a lot.
Which Holocaust you talking about? Because there were thousands of them, hundreds of them.
Here's the one.
There's just one more announcement.
One announcement, please. My name is Mohammed Al-Ghassani. I'm the president and imam of the Islamic Center for Peace in Fort Myers. We are going to be hosting 2 forums or 2 kind of discussions very soon, co-hosted actually. The first of which might be here at the FGCU on the 20th. It's 90% confirmed so far. One of the speakers, we're waiting for confirmation from them to make it a final, and we'll have it at the FGCU. It will be about the next movie that's similar to The Obsession you heard about. They came out with another one, just they put it out. They called it The Third Jihad. It is much worse than Obsession, by the way. That will be here at FGCU at the ballroom on the 20th of November, God willing. And a second panel discussion will be at the Lamb of God Church in Estero, off Estero Boulevard. That will be also about obsession. Both panels will have guest speakers from the people who made obsessions and the pundits themselves, most likely. Okay, the promoter Tom Trento, who sent you those DVDs, will be in both, and might be the Daniel Pipes possibility. We asked for him, or Zuhdi Jasser, the star of the Third Jihad. So we are trying to get these people all together, hopefully, for these two forums. We want you to attend. They both start at 6 o'clock or 5:30. Check our website for information, ic-peace.com, or obsessionwatch.org. Obsessionwatch.org. They have Watch Obsession, we have Obsession Watch. You go to obsessionwatch.org, you get all the details for these two events, and hopefully we'll see you there. Thank you. Thanks for allowing me to Thank you. Great job.
The hot seat by rating at least 1 hour. 1 hour is the hour that wrong ratings. What did he say? He said we have nuclear weapons.
No,
it's Jimmy Carter.
That was 20 plus years ahead. That was American foreign policy for decades.
Yeah. Jimmy Carter had the worst foreign policy, and he had the worst domestic policy ever heard in history.
I'm not saying anything negative to in regards to Ronald Reagan.
There's nothing to say that about him except that he can get spending. You have a liberal Democratic Congress thing. I don't mean to be prejudiced, but that's the way to put it.
I agree.
Because, you know, I feel a lot of not only is it setting and you know, part of the problem is, you know, I talk about we have to recognize the supply of illegals. Not only do we have a supply of illegals coming here, but we have a demand for cheap illegals. And in order to deal with the problem of real estate, we have to do a couple of things. First thing we have to do is we do need to
Close the border permanently.
No, I wouldn't say close the border permanently, because you know, actually, the majority of illegal immigrants who have this country didn't cross the border illegally. They came here on visas that expired and they left. The best thing that we can do is we can increase the way that we document the workers. We can increase our workers in that area. And then the other thing that we have to do is we have to, number one, we have to make a good, reliable database for employers to make sure that they're getting legal employees. And for those who knowingly hire illegal immigrants, we have to deal with them. They have to have legal consequences.
But they can't have a pathway to citizenship. If they want a pathway to citizenship, they have to get on back of the line.
Well, it's a problem.
If you want to separate the European immigrants here, we had a much stricter European policy. They were told that if you radically sick, so you better have your paperwork, and you better be physically.
But the number of immigrants that we let in at that time was much more realistic towards the demand that we have now. Part of the problem that we have right now is that our immigration caps aren't really realistic with what we need. Thank you. I appreciate you coming out. So we have to, there's a whole lot of things we have to do. But I mean, when you're talking about rounding up 12, 14 million people, it would destroy this country.
No. In my opinion, Mayor Giuliani had the best policy. There's 2 million people that have committed crimes throughout. For the rest of them, come forward, get fingerprinted, get photos. They have to pay fines, they have to pay late taxes. If they don't come forward, if they don't do any of that, you throw them out of the country.
I think that's fair. But as long as that's part of what I would consider a good policy. I think it's fair. Obviously, number one, you have to have them come forward. You can't just say, okay, anybody who's here, hey, guess what, they're all citizens. That's the end of it. You have to have a process.
But that's what Obama wants.
I couldn't tell you exactly what Obama wants, but I think anything that comes up on immigration, even if the Republicans are a minority, I mean, on this issue, they're representing a large number of people. So what you're going to see with the immigration policy, I think, is a little more realistic than what the fears of the Republicans and the Democrats have.
Final thing on economics. I'm a historian. I read about Ronald Reagan. I think he put in an economic model for future generations, lower taxes, revenue things like that. The problem was that he couldn't get spending under control because of Democratic Congress. And
we can go around on that for a long time.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. He comes into office. Inflation drops. He cuts taxes. Inflation goes down. Interest rates go down. About 19 million people go back to work. He couldn't get the balanced budget because spending got out of control. There's no argument about that. Now here comes Clinton. Okay. The one thing here's what I don't appreciate about the Clintons or Hillary. They take all the credit for the Reagan administration. Okay. Ronald Reagan was responsible for about 19 million of those 22.7 million jobs that Hillary takes credit for. Okay. And what she doesn't take credit for is that the fact that there was a Republican Congress led by Newt Gingrich that stopped the Clinton administration from spending.
I think the issue that we have with the economy, I think Reaganomics was a voluntary to begin with because it works in the short term, but I think what we're seeing now is kind of the logical long-term consequences of that. Now, I think there was a lot of things, I think in 1980, a lot of what Ronald Reagan did was absolutely what was necessary for 1980. I think the problem that we have, particularly with people on the Republican side, is that they're looking at what was done in 1980 and trying to apply that.
Even under Bush, he took in 20% more revenue than under Clinton.
But look where we're at now.
Because there was no reprimanding for spending. And that's why McCain didn't support the Bush taxes. There was no plan to cut spending.
Spending is a huge problem. And I go out, whenever I'm talking about this, I'm always talking about the fact that we have an economy that seems to be based nothing more on debt. It's partially spending, it's partially deregulation, which came under the Clinton era. It was the legislation that was proposed. More than that,
Lyndon Johnson and Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac.
Well, you can really, I think where the root cause of the problems that we're having now came from the Nixon chop in 71.
And Lyndon Johnson.
Well, Nixon, you can say it was a process.
Are you saying Lyndon Johnson was a good president? Because we can go on and on about the Great Society.
I definitely wouldn't give you that. But what happened, when Nixon took us off of any pretense of a gold standard, because at that point it wasn't really a gold standard, but when he took us off that path, we took us to an economy that was essentially based about 90% on commodities and production and 10% on speculation, to over the decades an economy that's 90% speculation and 10% commodities and production. So what we have to do, I think, is one of the most important things that we have to look at is monetary policy. We really need to take a hard look at re-regulate. We need to take a look at fractional reserve banking, the fact that, about $33, for every dollar that is actually in a bank somewhere, there's about $33 of debt that's permitted.
Do you think there's monopolies being run in the banking system?
Oh, yes. No, I've been talking with him.
Right.
Absolutely.
The only two are left standing are Bank of America and Citibank.
And what's the problem that nobody's facing up to is, we have $500 trillion in derivatives out there. Derivatives.
Offshore bank accounts?
No, derivatives are all like these fancy securitized mortgage deals. These are all within the derivatives. The default credit swaps, that's part of the derivative system. And derivatives is essentially, it's something that's been around as long as there's been capitalism. In and of itself, derivatives aren't a bad thing, but the entire market is deregulated. Now, to put that $500 trillion in perspective, this is worldwide. Worldwide, there are $100 trillion in stocks and bonds, worldwide, in every market in the world, and there's $75 trillion in real estate. We have $500 trillion in derivatives that was largely created out of nothing but debt based on fantasy money because the market was unregulated. And I think this is really this is the big crisis. All of these things that we're doing to try and stimulate the economy, to try and get liquidity back in the bank, it's all going to fall back on the fact that we've got this overwhelming, essentially a legal black banking market. And until we address that, we're just going to be constantly chasing our tail on the questions.
Now, let me ask you this.
I sent emails to some people, and like you see.
What's your opinion? Now, here's the thing. You say that supply-side economics don't work, but now here's the problem. Obama starts raising taxes, he's going to lose revenue. And he's not. And you say Bill Clinton saved. You say that Bill Clinton saved the economy by raising taxes. Right. But here's the thing. President Bush, the first Bush raised taxes, made deficits even worse. He thought he could keep the deficit under control, raise taxes, and take his ass. He's going to raise taxes. It's going to make
the first President Bush actually getting the deficit under control started under the first President Bush, and then it was continued with the Clinton administration and the Republican Congress. So it was a combination of those things. This is the issue that we have now, and I think this is the biggest problem, is we have people who are arguing that it's either capitalism or socialism. When, if you look at the reality of modern economics, at least since the 20th century, we've always had a mix of government and private initiatives. And what we're really talking about now is how to find a balance. I think in the last 25 years, we've gone too far over towards the unregulated side of capitalism. I think we need to bring some of that regulation back. I think
reasonable regulation, because I should be allowed to run my business without the government on my back.
Right, and I agree with you. And you know, I go out and I'm a small businessman myself. I have a small video production company. So you know, I understand the pressure of unnecessary regulations and everything. But one of the problems that we have right now is wealth is really polarized in this country. When we talk about that top 1%, they own 21% of all the wealth in the country, and they make an average of $2.5 million a year. And they are the only group that has actually seen their tax, when you include both payroll taxes and federal income tax, they are the only group that has actually seen the amount of taxes that they pay go down.
That is true. I'm going to tell you something, because I read an article somewhere where if you were making $50,000 to $60,000 a year, you saw a 24% increase in your income.
Have you ever heard of the Center for Tax Justice? Very well respected group.
Look.
I would urge you to go and take a look at it.
Here's the problem with taxes rich. Okay, if I own a business, okay, and you start raising taxes on me, you're also going to be raising taxes on my business. I got to start cutting payroll to meet those taxes.
But see, you assume
it's basic economics.
It's basic economics in a closed loop. The problem is the money doesn't stay within the system directly. A lot of the money that goes to that, and this is an oversimplification, but we'll just say for the purpose of argument, that top 1% are the big corporate businesses.
Mark my words, they're going to start cutting payroll and they're going to start laying people off.
The problem is the money goes up and then it doesn't stay in a continuous loop. The money goes up and then it goes outside the national economy to other economies that don't have the same ratio of feedback into the system. And the problem that I have with Reaganomics and the problem that I have with Milton Friedman is that it assumes a closed loop. And the real economics of the world is much more complex.
There's the difference between a CEO who steals $250,000 and there's a difference between an entrepreneur who earns $250,000.
But if a CEO is making 420 times what a floor worker is making, isn't that exploitation of labor?
What you're seeing, I do agree with that. Here's the problem. You have a bunch of overeducated
United States. And the next closest country is Mexico, which is 40 times the average floor worker. And Europe, it's about 10, 12 times. And the reason that this is happening in the United States is because of the way that we have deregulated the economy and the way that we have released major corporations, multinational corporations from their
the wealth of the middle class increased about 6.5% under Reagan. Can you dispute that?
Under Reagan, that's possible, but over the last 25 years, it's actually decreased by.
How do you explain 19 million people going back to work under Ronald Reagan?
But see, and this is again, Reagan in 1980, he initiated a lot of things that were absolutely necessary in 1980. But when you try and perpetuate that system for 30 years, you have problems. And I think a lot of the things, Reagan, I think, was a natural reaction to some of the, we'll call it left-wing excesses of the 70s and the 60s. But the problem is you have to go back and you have to establish
Right. One final thing: you'll never solve anything through income redistribution. Okay, I mean, you have to convince people to engage in wealth creation.
Yeah, but I mean, we have both in this society. We always have. I mean, that's
If
what
you look
taxes
at even
are.
if you even look back, every president knew, and they probably turned their back on it. The government has to get out of the private sector with moderate regulation.
You have to have both, and that's the thing. We just have to get out of this either-or mindset. You have to have wealth creation, and the reality of a progressive tax system is regardless if you like it or not, there is an element of wealth distribution. That's what taxes are. So, you know, you have to have both in a functioning economy. Thanks, I appreciate it, Jim.
This one side, or hey, I did just last night in a graduate class. I feel like graduate students should be more dispassionate, more dispassionate, more serious about really Palestine by Professor Columbia. And people are freaking out like this is bias, fucking important problem. I mean, I'm biased in my work on Nazi Germany.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. You know, if the bias is based on knowledge and understanding.
Exactly.
And you sympathize with human beings on various sides of the issue. But there's still basic matters of power, justice, and suffering, which is why the suffering and the pain Israeli Jews experience versus the suffering and misery the Palestinians face is entirely different. Every single Palestinian suffers every single day and has for suffering. Oh yeah, okay. Thanks for everything.
You know, and that's all I'm saying. It's just like we all are pretty subjective.
Yeah, right.
And so you can just call me irrational and blow me aside. I don't know what you accomplished by that, but that's just what you did. Not you. Yeah. Even if you're Christian fundamentalist or extreme Zionist or Islamic fundamentalist, whatever, it doesn't do me any good to. Yeah, it doesn't do me any good to. I love that book. Yeah.
Oh, he's a good book.
And
he's Iranian.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. It doesn't do me any good to say you're irrational and walk away. Because then what have I accomplished? It just seems kind of.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And I know I'm studying Heidegger right now.
Oh, really?
Sorry.
Where are you in?
Dr. Kelly.
Oh, Dr. Oh, really? Okay. Because I sound like, I don't know if you've had Dr. A.
Not yet.
Because Heidegger is his main thing.
Yeah. I don't know if it goes against what you, because he was a Nazi.
Yeah, exactly.
We went through Kant. We went through Kant and Heidegger.
Thanks a lot. This is really cool event.
Thanks for putting it
Thank you I'm going to do that.
Yeah, I got a boogie.
So I can't.
Hey man, hey, thanks a lot for being here. It's good to see you. Enjoy getting to share a panel with you. Hey, the third, hopefully I'll see you before the third annual forum, I hope.
Can you turn it to bio?
Yeah, we should. There's a lot to. We just barely got going on a lot.
Any interesting classes you can.
Yeah.
I'll be happy.
Yeah, that's cool. I think again, actually, you know what? Next time I teach, I'm sorry I didn't bring my card.
That's okay.
I rarely think about them. Yeah. No, I'd like to get together. Yeah, I'll be ready for you.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
No, that's cool. And that video blew my mind when that dude got up.
I know.
I think that's funny. Sometimes people at this kind of level speak like that, whereas people at a higher level of national prominence maybe have advisors who tell them you can't say that.
Yeah, and and that's and I'm sure he meant it as a joke.
Yeah, but even to think you can get away with a joke about bombing two countries.
He calls Robert Neal Pander Bear.
Oh, really?
Because no matter what audience he's speaking to,
Okay, that's funny.
He tries to match it.
He
figured, hey, military officers association of America, I gotta sound tougher than anybody. And it's interesting. I know this camera has really changed the tenor of all the debates and everything that we had. I have a feeling we haven't had much an attitude. We've not had the cameras there. But everyone that we went to, like the MOAA, that was a very conservative group. I mean, there was like a guy handing out like 8 ballots in the back of the room after we got done. And they had a straw poll on that. And of course, Mac didn't show up, so right. There was like 40 people in the room. Mac got 2 votes.
Oh, really?
Neil got 2 votes. I got 3 votes, and Saunders got like 37.
Oh, really?
But that was a really conservative room. It's interesting when I go out. I always have people when they come up to me and they're like, "You have an interesting perspective," or "You have a perspective that I haven't heard before."
Yeah, that's interesting.
You know, and that's really cool because it does get the wheels going. When you go over there, and it's not the standard.
Well, I'll tell you what, too, man. Next time I teach, I'm hoping in the spring I'll teach my class. I developed a class on Islamic history because there was no one else teaching on it. There was some clown who was teaching a class called How the Arabs View Us or something like that. And as soon as I saw that, I went to the chair and said, I have to teach a class because this is outrageous. But next time I teach it, which might be in the spring, I'd like to invite you to come speak to the class. I'll be real. I've invited Abdul Haq Muhammad a couple times. And it's, I really like Abdul Haq. And Isla was in my class. And it was funny because about the middle of the semester, she said something from the class, from the floor, like, well, as a Muslim, I think this, and everyone was freaking out. Like, what, you don't look like a Muslim? So that would really blow people's minds for you to come and see. I mean, but it would also shed light on a different experience of Muslims in this country.
Yeah, it is. It's really funny. I mean, you know, I wasn't joking when I said it's really easy for me as a white guy to go out and say I'm a Muslim because, you know, I grew up here. You know, the beginning of every speech.
And you have a name like the guy who used to be a quarterback.
Well, I don't think it's a coincidence that the 2 Muslims that we have in Congress, their names are Keith and Andre. So,
although that didn't stop some idiot from Virginia when Keith Ellison was sworn in. It was a congressman, wasn't it, from Virginia, who said he can't be, he's going to swear in on the, he said if we let him come in and swear in on the Quran and all that, then we'll be overrun by Muslim immigrants because, in the Congress. Like maybe all the Mexicans are going to convert to Islam and get elected to Congress.
Don't tell them. You know, I have the advantage, and I am involved with the mosque, but I usually I'm kind of on a side level because I really don't feel that it's my job to go out and evangelize Islam. I mean, honestly, I don't. If you're a Christian, be a good Christian. If you're Jewish, be a good Jew. If you're Muslim, be a good Muslim. I think if you attend to the basic principles of all of the religions, Buddhism, Hinduism, you'll do okay. It's not my job to go out and judge people. And that's what I love about Islam. I mean, that's one of the things that attracted me. I'm sure you've heard the saying of the Prophet that the religion was like a beautiful mansion that was complete except for one brick, and I am that last brick. I mean, to me, that's a tremendous statement of humility. He's not the roof, he's not the foundation, he's one brick among many. I think that's something that for me personally, that I love about Islam is that it recognizes, when they talk about universal religion, they really mean all religions. Not we want to be the one universal religion of life.
No, I often tell Muhammad, I become so angry. In fact, I almost wanted to jump out of my chair about this guy sitting here. I tell Muhammad I need to maybe embrace Islam so I can become more calm and tamp down my rage.
Either that or run for office in this district because I've been dealing with that guy nonstop.
Oh, really?
Not that individual, but the same person. But you know, talk to those guys. I mean, you get them down a one-on-one level. You might not change their mind, but when you engage them and you say that it's not this or that, there's room for for both sides. Generally, you make a stand and talk about the Vikings, the conservative guys. I've gotten a lot.
Hey, you know what? I'm going to have to run. Man, I'm going to run, but I got to run, man. That's cool, man. Come on, I'm ready. I can bring it back. His dad was a right-wing guy. He talked. Have you seen Tom talk? I'll check it out. Yeah, I saw that. I checked it out.
Maybe translate some text
so that
I can.
Yeah, we have this. There's another website too. Exactly. Yeah.
Just Mecca. I don't know if Oh no, I didn't actually. Oh well. So you're from Georgia? I only got like 3 or 4 left, so I'm sure I'll get the winner.
I was in Iran. I went there twice. One in 2002 and in 2005. Yes, I'm from Tehran.
You still living in Naples, or are you living around
No,
here now?
I moved to Cerro.
Oh, okay. That's good.
It's closer to school.
Yeah, definitely.
It's easier for me to stay here all day than to go home.
Yeah, I used to work, the first year I worked in Naples, I lived in Fort Myers. I used to hate that. Go to work for like 12 hours, and it's like an hour drive there.
Hey, friend.
Each year, like, move closer and closer to FGCU. Well, I did live on campus last semester, but that was like $600 and something a semester, when now I'm paying like $400 with everything.
I'm gonna get those books first, and then I'll send you an email.
Especially now, real estate being so cheap.
Have some tea, and you smoke gallion?
Although now that you're living in Naples, I could have like, you know, maybe.
I just actually ran a marathon, and so I figure I should.
I went to
yeah, I was gonna say they
got 10 or 12 signs. I was actually, we've been driving around with the signs trying to find places to plant them. Like every like square inch of real estate in Naples is either like a Saunders sign.
Well, that doesn't matter. Can have tea sometime or whatever.
You would do sit up barricade by ripping.
You know what? I was
So,
trying to
are you going permanently or visiting?
One of my professors is an urban policy and policy class, and she's been having speakers come in. Yesterday she had Mike Scott come. I skipped that day. But and she just sent out an email today saying that, I don't remember who, but it was a Fort Myers administrator. He canceled on her, so I was going to ask her if maybe we could have Dr. Moore.
I came here when I was right before the
Yeah, what day is it?
I don't know. I'm going to ask her if
Well, hopefully it's before Tuesday. Like right now, I'm a somebody. People want to talk to me after Tuesday if I don't win the election.
that's right.
Yeah, who cares?
I'd like to see more,
But no, I'm going to stay active. I actually had a really interesting discussion with the leadership of the Democratic Party, the Lee County Democratic Party, this weekend. And there's a chance that a couple of them actually said they're going to vote for me. But there's a chance I might be getting involved with them. And then we'll be doing the documentary as soon as I get done with this. I got to work full time for a month or two to pay off my debts, but probably January, February, I'll start working full time on the documentary. So I'll still be out there actually.
Yeah.
Then I guess it's not going to work because it's a Tuesday, Thursday class, and tomorrow like maybe you could speak about what are they called? Political machines.
Yeah, it's funny because
I definitely got an eye-opening experience. I get this campaign. I understand how the process works. I've gotten a lot. How much work we actually have to do, including beating up the media.
So you're living in Fort Myers?
I had the first story this entire election cycle in the Naples Daily.
I'll call you. I talked to Anna. We'll have a meeting very soon, whenever we can, in the next couple of days. For the function on the 20th, we need to get together. Thank you so much. This is sorry.
I'll see you later Friday afternoon because I'm going to go down to Broadway for Joma. And I'll probably be later in the afternoon.
Our schedule is going down.
News press article.
About your campaign?
Well, what we want to do is basically the thrust of it is going to be about how money affects politics and also, media and how different local election processes and the presidential process. So probably, I still haven't put it all together yet. I got a couple hundred hours of footage from this, obviously, to report everything that I
get a lot of credit.
But probably what we'll do is it'll be my experience interspersed with like interviews,
Scandinavian interactions with Arabs because Scandinavians didn't have a real language.
Ralph Nader, and then some of the other people that ran locally. But we have a lot of Arab people like Mike Style and Judah, and those guys. And basically, I just want to show, the big thing, the underlying thesis of I think everything that I learned is the fact that the media does not cover local elections.
And so he's going to be running
local. And I'm not running for local office. I mean, I'm running for federal office, and the amount of media attention that we got is pathetic. I mean, for every 100 stories about the presidential race, there was one story not even about my race, but about local elections in general. And it's so important, you know, the local city stuff, the county stuff, the state stuff, and obviously I think Congress
How they
is just as
describe
important.
some of the way people look in Indonesia.
But it doesn't get the coverage.
Things like
It's not
that.
this big, dramatic, focus group, stage managed operation.
What's your favorite?
So that's basically kind of the first game.
I just saw Ken Visters get to Washington anymore.
You were about the 20th person that's recommended that to me like this week. I keep meaning to sit down and watch it.
But your idea is pretty different, and it sounds pretty good.
It's, you know,
It just reminds me that.
the Constitution is not broken. I mean, the government isn't broken. It's just the election system that's broken. I think that's what we got to do. It's I think we'll see changes. We just care. Yeah, and we got to find a way to make it interesting too. That's the other thing. If we can find a way to make it dramatic and engaging, then more people will get involved because it's entertaining, and hopefully, you know, we can spring off of that. I'm not sure.
It would be. That would be fun.
Nah, he'd probably be a bummer, like, or he'd probably be all like chilled out.
Well, no, I thought you meant like watching him hot.
Ah. Oh, yeah, that's
That might be. That would be different.
I wouldn't know. I'm not a
Kind of
vegan.
knew that. I think he was scared.
They didn't want to get their hands. Doing something else or somebody else?
Well, you know, we're talking about Obama and weed, right? Is that like able to go on?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
That's what we're talking
Well,
about.
apparently you do now.
And it's going into this website now.
We don't have any.
These are my supporters.
Hey, you figured out
National corporation.
There we go.
Starting lobbyists writing all the laws.
Of course, it'll be a non-alcoholic, no music party.
No women.
Yeah,